Thomas Tuchel's busy trying to bring glory back to England for the first time since '66. But how did he get here? Well, from the sleepy town of Krumbach via some giants of European football, here's his journey to Wembley. Sitting around 60 miles west of Munich, Krumbach's population is less than 14,000 people. But Tuchel's friends there remember a boy whose ambitions lay far beyond the Bavarian community. His will to win was evident early. Tuchel often captained his youth football teams, and his school side lifted the national German football trophy in 1987. The sport took the young defender on a whistle-stop tour of South Germany, from Augsburg to Stuttgart and then Ulm. A knee injury ended his playing career at the age of 25, though. Tuchel accepted his first coaching role in the Stuttgart youth setup in 2000, hired by none other than Ralf Rangnick. Under Tuchel's stewardship, the club's under-19s won their league title in 2005. But Stuttgart chose not to renew his contract, feeling Tuchel had an abrasive personality. He went on to manage Augsburg's second team before spending 5 years at the helm at Mainz. He then followed in Jurgen Klopp's footsteps and moved from Mainz to Dortmund. Here, Tuchel secured his first major silverware, the German Cup, in 2017. 8 more major trophies came next for Tuchel in just 5 glorious seasons. He won 2 Ligue 1 titles and a pair of domestic cups as PSG boss. At Chelsea, he famously lifted the Champions League as well as a Super Cup and a Club World Cup, and he also bagged a Bundesliga at Bayern Munich. And then, 4 months after leaving Bayern, Tuchel was unveiled as England's new manager.
I always wanted to come back to England. That was my big goal. I have the best memories of the country, of the league and of the players, the attitude towards the game, the attitudes from the supporters.
Well, here's hoping Tuchel can finally drag England over the line at a major tournament.
Good morning. This is Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. I'm Angelina Kelly with you until 6 a.m, building up to the breakfast show with Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbonlahor. What a week, by the way. Happy Friday, everybody. We've got plenty to come between now and 6 a.m. as we do build up to the breakfast show. There's been so much going on. The NFL, we've got Tottenham Hotspur, we've had transfer deadline days. It's all going on. But Nick, what is coming up on the show?
Yeah, it's Friday. No Premier League, unfortunately, but big story at Spurs. Chairman Daniel Levy's stepped down. We've got reaction from pundits and fans. We'll take a look at the big moves from WSL deadline day. Look ahead to tonight's curtain raiser. Chelsea versus Man City is live on talkSPORT 2 tonight. We'll get the latest on a mad start to the NFL. Still going on talkSPORT 2 if you want to listen to that. Look ahead to the big game tonight in Sao Paulo as well. Will Taylor Swift be there? And we'll go through the best of the front and back pages on this Friday morning.
That is the question everyone needs answering. Will Taylor Swift be there? Thanks so much for that, Nick. Let's get into it. So first up, we've got to get into this huge story which broke last night, that Tottenham's long-serving executive chairman Daniel Levy has stepped down after almost 25 years at the helm of the club.
And now the end is near.
We haven't won enough.
We now need to use that as a springboard to keep winning, because that's what this is all about.
It's my way, mate. That's what we do.
I really feel like we're building something, and what a trophy does is hopefully accelerates that.
Vicario takes it. It's glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur.
You know, having won the Europa League, thank you to Ange, you get a taste of it, but it's not enough. We've won 2 trophies in the last 20 plus years.
Very proud to sit in this chair and be part of the next chapter.
Ultimately, the decision is always going to be, it has to rest with me. It's always a collective decision.
I did it my way.
Daniel Levy has today stepped down from his role as executive chairman after nearly 25 years.
Whether you're a fan of Daniel Levy or not, and there's a lot of Tottenham fans obviously have been quite public in their criticism of him, this is a seismic day for Tottenham because this is the longest serving chairman. Obviously there have been some down moments in that time.
The half is the final that I didn't play with Tottenham.
And some up ones as well.
Tottenham are in the final. It's another English miracle in the Champions League.
Nothing has changed in terms of our ambition. It's always been the case.
Yeah, probably an unpopular opinion for Spurs fans, but I think it's a case of be careful what you wish for.
More, much more than this.
2001 and leaves after the club won the Europa League in May to end a 17-year wait for a trophy. Now, despite that, and Spurs' lovely new stadium, which I went to for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and I must admit, it is amazing. But Levy faced a lot of criticism from fans, with regular protests about the club's lack of competitiveness when it comes to silverware and investment in the squad. The news has really had Spurs fans conflicted, I think it's safe to say. And here's our very own Sports Bar host, Jamie O'Hara, who reacted to the news live into talkSPORT Drive.
Look, it's a tough one because he's done so many good things for the football club in terms of commercially where he's put the football club. You know, the stadium's unbelievable. He's made it a rich football club. The training facilities are world class. And I believe over his 25 years that we haven't done enough as a football club to win trophies, to be amongst the elite teams. And there's been too many signings that haven't fulfilled the potential of the football club. So, yeah, look, it's harsh to say I'm happy, but I'm happy because I think a lot of Spurs fans will say they are happy. The club's in a good position. You can't get away from the fact he's done a good job in terms of putting the club where it's in, but we need to win more trophies.
He's back at 10 p.m. on Monday with the Sports Bar, and our very own Danny Kelly, who is also a Spurs fan, had his say on kick-off last night.
And of course, if this is the prelude to, let's say, a sale, then he's liable to walk out of it at the thick end of a billionaire. But as regards the football club, Courtney got it right. You could argue that it was an incredibly well-run business and a very averagely run football club. I wouldn't go that far. Anyone who remembers what the club was like when he took it over at the turn of the century will know that Spurs were living from hand to mouth. They were bringing in veterans and bargain bin players. And all right, it's taken 25 years, if you like, but he has utterly transformed not just the reality, but I think the prospects of the football club as well. I've had plenty of problems with him as recently as 10 days ago in the transfer window. I was doing my nut on the Spurs podcast that I present about the inability of him and his cohorts to get certain deals across the line. But if you take the timeline from when he took over to now, then he's been a monumental success. The trouble is, many young Spurs fans weren't even alive. They don't remember when Spurs were really in trouble and not punching at their proper weight. So I'm trying to put it into, I think he's done really, really well at Spurs. I also think it's probably the right time for him to step down, depending on what comes next.
I think Jamie and Danny sum it up perfectly there. The club is so much richer and more polished, but they just need to kick on now. Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent, they took so many passionate callers on Daniel Levy on talkSPORT Drive. Here's one of my favourites. It's Angel, the Spurs fan.
First of all, let's talk about history. When Alan Sugar was in charge, we were fighting relegation. Vinnie Samways was having to score a scorcher at Oldham to keep us up, right?
Yeah.
So that's history. And when we had Alan Sugar in charge, he used to threaten us that he was going to sell White Hart Lane to Tesco's, right? I don't know if I'm allowed to use that word, I apologise. But he was going to sell it to a supermarket.
Yeah, that's fine.
And to look at what Levy's done since then, I agree he's made horrendous management decisions. You know, AVB, sacking Mourinho when he did, Mopo, they're horrendous management decisions. But the bloke has turned Tottenham into a massive world power, like he said. And for people like Matt, who think we are entitled to win trophies, we're not. And we've had to deal with Chelsea, Man City, obviously the juggernaut that is Man United with money. So for me, I agree with I forgot his name.
O'Hara?
O'Hara, yeah, Cundy's mate. Be careful what you wish for, man.
You know what? I think Angel makes a great point about the managers. Spurs have had 13 head coaches in 24 years under Daniel Levy, whichever way you spin it, that's not good enough. And it's a demonstration that actually they haven't recruited managers well. Mauricio Pochettino was the longest serving manager in that period. He was there 5.5 years. So for comparison, that's less than Arsenal's current manager, Mikel Arteta. There's a lot of criticism about how much Tottenham have spent under Daniel Levy, and there's some stats to back that up, and there's some stats that don't. Transfer-wise, they have the 4th highest net spend in the league over the last 5 years. Only Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United have spent more than Tottenham's £564 million. However, where Levy didn't spend, and you'd have to think that this is a strategic choice, is wages. They have the 6th highest wage bill in the league, but spend between 40 and 80 million pounds less a year than any of the other big 6 clubs. On top of that, last season, they only had 4 players on over 100 grand a week. That's gone up to 6 now with the new signings, but still none over 200,000. For comparison, Arsenal and Liverpool have 13 players on 6 figures a week. Chelsea and Man City have 14 each. Manchester United, my club, have 16, of course they do. Even Aston Villa and Newcastle, who have both finished in the Champions League places ahead of Spurs in recent years, have 11 and 7 players on that much. If you want to buy and keep big players, you need to pay them right, or they will go elsewhere. Levy did a great job at building the infrastructure around Tottenham, but maybe to actually take that next step, now is the right time to leave. But what do you think of Daniel Levy's departure from Tottenham? Give me a call on 03717 223344, WhatsApps and voice notes on the same number, and text on 81089. And whilst it is International Week in the men's game, we've got all of this drama with Daniel Levy, but in the women's game, the new season is about to start. The Women's Super League gets underway tonight live on talkSPORT 2 as last season's invincible champions Chelsea take on Manchester City at 7:30pm at Stamford Bridge. While on Sunday, talkSPORT 2 brings you live commentary of the Merseyside derby at Anfield. Kick-off for that one is at midday. So the Women's Super League transfer window closed last night. There were some big deals, one of them being Chelsea signing US international Alyssa Thompson for just under £1 million from Angel City. However, there are still some deals to be done, as according to reports, London City Lionesses have agreed a £1.4 million world record deal to sign Paris Saint-Germain midfielder Grace Gayoro. This is the 3rd time that the record for the biggest transfer fee has been broken this summer. So Arsenal signed Olivia Smith for £1 million in July. Then Orlando Pride broke that record with the £1.1 million signing of Mexico winger Lisbeth Ovalle in August. So Gayoro would be London City Lionesses' 16th signing. They've really dominated the window, I must say. For those who don't know, they're backed by Michelle Kang, who is their majority owner. She's put some serious investment into the women's game, and I actually spoke to Chelsea's manager, Sonia Bonpastor, about the club and the work that they've done so far.
this is what we want, to have like a healthy competition within all the clubs, but also to have the competition. And I think just to see London Lionesses investing in the women's game in England with Michelle Kung, I think that's an exciting news. I think when you have a team who is promoted and is able to invest that much money in the squad, in the players, just bring positivity around the women's game in England, and I think that's what we want to see.
It was absolutely amazing speaking to Sonia Bonpastor. She's such a good speaker, but she's right. That is what we want. It's what we want to see. But elsewhere, I'm gutted about this. I'm absolutely gutted. Manchester United, my team, have swapped Lioness Grace Clinton with Manchester City for fellow England midfielder Jess Park. I love Jess Park, but Grace Clinton was one of my favourite players. She's a huge talent, a generational talent, and it's such a shame that the club have cashed in on her because she only had a year left on her contract. Oh well, another Man United signing, not going my way. But you're listening to Early Sports Breakfast with me, Angelina Kelly. Coming up next, we'll be reacting to the return of the NFL. And if you want to get involved in the show, if you want to talk about Daniel Levy leaving Spurs, do you think he did a good job? Was his departure long overdue? Give me a call on 03717 223344 and you'll be next on Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Good morning, I'm Angelina Kelly and you're listening to Early Sports Breakfast with Adrian Flux. Get a tailor-made quote for your commercial vehicle. Search Adrian Flux Insurance for the individual. We've been talking about Daniel Levy's departure from Spurs. Do you think he left at the right time? Well, between me and you, Spurs fans, do you think he actually did a better job than he gets credit for? Give me a call on 03717 223344, WhatsApp voice notes or messages on the same number, or text me on 81089. Coming up at 6 a.m, it's Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbonlahor. I gave Gabby a little bit of stick yesterday about his club Aston Villa loaning another one of my club Manchester United's undesirable players, shall we say, in Jadon Sancho. So I promised Gabby I'll be a bit nicer today. Well, I'll try. Don't forget that you can listen to all our stations on the talkSPORT app if you want some music. Virgin Radio is there. There's even a Virgin Radio Britpop station on the app. Or for news, you can find Talk and Times Radio. Just swipe between our stations. Here are some of your other headlines this Friday morning. Northern Ireland made the perfect start to World Cup qualifying with a 3-1 win in Luxembourg. Meanwhile, Craig Bellamy's promised his Wales team will be better after their narrow 1-0 win in Kazakhstan. Christopher Nkunku hopes to put a frustrating spell at Chelsea behind him after joining AC Milan. The French forward struggled for game time under Enzo Maresca at Stamford Bridge, and after signing a 5-year contract at the San Siro, he's hoping to get his career back on track. Let's see if he can do it. And England's cricketers came close to completing a spectacular run chase, but ultimately fell to a one-day international series defeat against South Africa. They were set at Lords' ODI record target of 331 runs to win, but South Africa took the victory by 5 runs. South Africa are 2-0 up in the series, with the final match taking place in Southampton on Sunday. For more on all these stories, visit talksport.com. Now, the NFL season has just got underway. It has just finished, the game between Super Bowl champions taking on the Dallas Cowboys. It was over on talkSPORT 2. It was on talkSPORT 1. Then we switched over. We've got Will Gavin here to get into it. Now, what has been going on? I have heard there's been a little bit of drama, a lot of spitting apparently. Fill us in, what's been happening?
Yeah, a wild start to the new NFL season, Angelina. Thank you for having me on. And look, this was the opening game of the season. talkSPORT's biggest ever year of coverage, doing over 90 games this year. So excited to have the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. They're going up against their bitter divisional rivals, probably the biggest, like one of the biggest derbies in football terms in the NFL, right? The Cowboys against the Eagles. First play of the game, the kickoff. Eagles fullback goes down with an injury. They're having to bring the cart on. It looks like it could be a serious knee injury. Everything kind of slows down. And then while that's happening, we see the Eagles defensive lineman, Jalen Carter, a massive human being. This guy is 22 and a half stone, 6'8", like huge human being, walking over towards the Dallas Cowboys huddle where the quarterback, Dak Prescott, and them are all ready to go out and play on offense. And after an exchange of words, spit directly into the chest of Dak Prescott. Like, in a time when we're talking about all this Luis Suarez stuff and into Miami and him having to apologise to the manager and everything. And so this was, at the time, he was immediately ejected from the game. It was right in front of the official.
Rightly so.
He was seen on the sideline looking a bit frustrated, but immediately left. And, you know, nothing more was thought of it beyond the fact that it is disgusting to spit at somebody.
It's got to be the worst.
It is something he should have been ejected for.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance he'll miss a game now, which the Eagles face the Chiefs next weekend in a Super Bowl 59 replay in Arrowhead on the road. He is their best defensive player, and that is super tough. But interestingly, what we had in this game today as well. So finished 24-20 to the Eagles. Really kind of impressive first 2.5 quarters. First 8 drives, scoring on all of them. Really fun, back and forth. And then we got a lightning delay. You remember the Club World Cup? Remember those?
Well, I was going to say, what does this mean looking at the World Cup? Because it's happened a couple of times now.
I think it's huge for the World Cup. I will get on to that in a moment, but what the lightning delay led to was an hour delay in the broadcast. And somebody in a truck for NBC must have been going through the footage, and they replayed it so many times, and they noticed something. And they went back and they checked it, and they stuck it on TV.
Okay.
Dak Prescott, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, prior to Jalen Carter spitting onto his chest, from another angle, very clearly, locks eyes with him, spits at his feet on the floor, and then gives him this big cheesy, antagonising grin. And now the internet's gone mad about that as well. So, look, we should have been talking about the football. It was a really great game. The Cowboys went blow for blow with the Eagles, which was surprising early on, because we thought this would be a handy Eagles victory to celebrate their Super Bowl. And instead, we're talking about two men spitting at each other. It's ridiculous.
That is absolutely insane, isn't it? I mean, we can't talk about the Cowboys without mentioning the exit of Micah Parsons. For those of us who don't follow the NFL, just explain why his move to the Green Bay Packers got so many people talking ahead of this new season, and how are the Cowboys looking without him?
Not very good, I think, is the key. I don't think defensively they're going to be able to handle teams better than them this season by any stretch of the imagination. Micah Parsons is as talented a defensive player as there is in the NFL. The guys up front that you want to get after the opposition quarterback, to rush the passer, he is arguably the very best of that in the NFL. And he's only 25 years old, and he's only been in the league for 4 years. And in those 4 years, he's been voted to the All-Pro team, the All-Star team, 3 times. He's voted to the Pro Bowl 3 times, which is a similar thing, but voted for by fans. In the history of the NFL, only 28 other players have ever had that level of accolade, have been lauded that much in the first 4 years of their career. None of them left the team that they were on in year 5. Not the same for Micah Parsons. Him and Jerry Jones, the owner, had a falling out. Jerry Jones claimed there was a handshake deal going on. Micah Parsons says, you can't do a deal with me without my agent being involved. He got very bitter. He got very public. And he ended up getting traded to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round draft picks and a player. Honestly, a bargain from my concern. And for me, the Packers are now my Super Bowl pick from the NFC, just from that one player alone. And for the Dallas Cowboys, they've got to be in full-on rebuild mode. That's how important this one player is, and they just didn't look very good without him, unfortunately. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't get after the passer in the first half. I think they're going to be in real trouble without him.
Well, thank you very much for bringing us all the latest, all the spitting gossip. Please go home and get some rest. Thank you so much. That was Will Gavin, talkSPORT's NFL host. For more on this season's coverage, check out talksport.com/NFL or head to the talkSPORT USA YouTube channel. But now we're going to have a quick look at the back pages with Nick Ellerby. Good to have you back.
Hey.
What are we talking about?
One in, one out. Listen, I think this is a story that might have picked up a bit more traction if it wasn't for Daniel Levy's bombshell announcement.
Yes.
In the back of the Times, good article from Matt Lawton, their chief sports correspondent, on potentially football's doping problem. He's arguing that actually the testing system in football is not really fit for purpose. So football always says it's got its house in order in terms of doping. It talks about itself as a very, very clean sport. In fact, it's second only to athletics in the number of tests it conducts. But this time's investigation has looked at actually the FA's really in control of testing players here, so more or less marking its own homework. Out of competition testing is conducted almost always at club training grounds, so players know where and when they're going to be tested. Clubs provide the FA with their training schedules, and players do not have to provide their whereabouts on off days when they're on holiday or during the close season. And when we see athletics has got this right at the moment. You know, there's huge investigations involving also people like the FBI as well, finding athletes when they're at training camps, different places, because a lot of things like testosterone and blood doping as well only really stays in your system for a couple of days and isn't that detectable. And the Times are arguing that where there's a lot of money, there's people cheating the system. And they're just arguing that maybe the FA shouldn't be necessarily in control of this, and maybe players should be tested away from training grounds and where they're on holiday when they're least expecting it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I don't think I'd like the idea of being on holiday and someone popping up out of nowhere like, hello. But you know what? If it's got to be done, it's got to be done.
We want a clean sport.
Exactly.
And I would imagine the scale of the problem is much bigger than we know. Just think about the sums of money that are involved, and people are always out to cheat the system. In terms of back pages as well, Ezri Konsa has spoken about PSR rules really upsetting Aston Villa in this window. He said, Ezri Konsa, the crazy financial rules have killed Aston Villa in the window. They got those late loans for Jadon Sancho, Harvey Elliott, free agent, your mate Victor Lindelof.
Yeah.
And Emi Martinez, was pushing for that move away. So
terrible birthday for him, wasn't it?
Konsa's a bit upset about the about PSR rules stifling those clubs trying to break into that, let's call it top 5 or 6.
Yeah, it has been difficult for Aston Villa, hasn't it? It is tough. But thanks very much for that, Nick.
Nice one.
Anything else? All good?
Well, have you got time for this? Harry Maguire in no hurry for Saudi. Apparently, some 2 Saudi clubs are interested in Harry Maguire when his Man United contract runs out at the end of the season. And they also, so it says here in The Sun, Man United rejected bids for Maguire from the Premier League and Italy this summer. Not quite sure where those were from.
Yeah, I'd like to know exactly where they were from. Anyway, thank you very much, Nick.
Cheers.
We'll see you later. Up next, we will be delving more into this Daniel Levy story. I'm Angelina Kelly. You're listening to Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT.
The Premier League's profit and sustainability rules are sold to us as financial fair play, a way to keep clubs from going bust. But there are those who feel it's starting to look a lot like a system that protects the big boys and keeps the rest in their lane. Here's how it works and why people feel that way. So clubs can only lose 105 million quid over 3 years, which sounds fair, but here's the kicker. Your limit includes how much you earn. So if you're one of the traditional top 6, you've got massive global revenue streams and you can spend way more while still technically following the rules. Meanwhile, ambitious clubs like Newcastle, Villa or Forest, well, they're bringing a knife to a gunfight. Newcastle might be backed by Saudi billions, but they just can't splurge the cash. Their commercial income isn't there yet. Last season, they won their first domestic trophy since 1955 and qualified for the Champions League, which you'd think would be a great springboard for them to go on and start building a team to challenge at the very top. But because of PSR restraints, they couldn't break their wage structure for a new Alexander Isak contract, and look what happened there. So what's the solution? Well, either loosen the reins so ambitious clubs can spend within their means, or cap spending based on something other than revenue. Otherwise, we're just watching the same 6 teams swapping silverware most seasons, and that, folks, ain't what the Premier League was built on.
Good morning, I'm Angelina Kelly, and this is Early Sports Breakfast with Adrian Flux, the cover you need at a price you'll love, with What Vans Insure of the Year 2021. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Some more headlines you have been waking up to this morning. Scotland captain Andy Robertson knows there's little margin for error as they kick off their campaign against Denmark in Copenhagen tonight, which is just the first of 6 matches in their bid to make it to the USA next summer. The new Women's Super League season gets underway tonight as Chelsea begin their title defence against Manchester City at Stamford Bridge. New Man City boss Andre Jeglerts sees their opening night match as a real opportunity to assess what his side are capable of.
To face the team that has been winning the league a couple of years in a row also shows that it gives us a good hint of where are we, because we think that, like I said earlier, that we are ready.
Leeds have moved level with second place Wigan in Rugby League Super League after a 26-0 win against Huddersfield. For more breaking news and top stories, make sure you head to talksport.com. And don't forget, TalkSport is everywhere now. You can watch TalkSport on your TV, Samsung, LG, Fire TV, Apple TV, Chromecast, Android, Google TV, even Prime Video. You literally cannot escape us. This morning, we've of course been talking about the news that Tottenham Hotspur chairman Daniel Levy has stepped down from his role after nearly 25 years at the club. I wanted to speak to a Spurs fan, so I thought, let's check in with Inside Spurs, which is talkSPORT's YouTube show all about Spurs. Let's speak to the co-host, Sonny Snelling. Sonny, thank you so much for joining me. I know that you were happy about the news yesterday, so I want to know, was it a long time coming, and what was the most frustrating part of Levy's reign?
Yeah, good morning, Angelina. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, I feel like this was, it was a bolt out of the blue when the news was posted by Tottenham yesterday. I've got my notifications on for the club on Twitter, and when it popped up, I literally froze. I was stunned that this has happened.
Nearly
during an
fainted,
international
maybe?
break. Oh, I was giddy. I will say that I was a bit giddy. But yeah, this was maybe foreshadowed a little while ago because Daniel Levy's right-hand woman on the Spurs board, Donna Cullen, had lost her job a couple of months back as well. So there were sort of murmurings, and the club was changing its structure. We brought in Vinay Venkateshan from Arsenal as a new CEO. We brought in Johan Lang over the last couple of years to do like technical directors and stuff like that. So the club was sort of pivoting and changing. So in that regard, it wasn't a surprise, but it was a surprise in the terms of Levy, has been the longest serving Premier League chairman, of all time. And he sort of seemed like the immovable object. So the fact that he has made the move is quite a shock in the grand scheme of things. But as you said there, frustration. A lot of, I've seen some Spurs fans in my comment section on my YouTube channel and all over Twitter. A lot of them are thanking him and saying, you've done a good job, but there will always be those frustrations. And the one that sticks out for me is not spending in a calendar year, which I haven't heard many people mention. We were in the peak of our powers under Pochettino. We had a squad of Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen, and we didn't do enough at that time to strengthen. Whereas like Liverpool, after a Champions League, saw that they lost and they went and got Alisson and Van Dijk. And that's what you have to do as a big club. If Daniel Levy wants to operate as this big chairman, as a big club chairman, you have to do those bold things. And there were just so many moments where, and I say it on, we got an Inside Spurs special coming out at 8 o'clock this morning. I say it on there. With Levy, you can say all the positives, the stadium, the training ground, and I've been to both and they're fantastic.
That stadium's nice, isn't it?
It is. I was there for the Bournemouth game and it is, pucker, I will say that. But it's almost like one step forward, 2 steps back with Daniel Levy. You always, when you find a positive, there's at least 5 negatives you can counteract with that.
And I wanted to ask realistically, Sonny, what do you think the future looks like for your club now?
I think it's positive because, the way we've sort of seen it, I think the shock has been, and there's been reports overnight and late last night saying that a lot of this was pushed by the Lewis family, Joe Lewis Enoch, who obviously own a 85% ownership of Spurs. Levy owns about 25 to 30 or the rest of that. So he still has got like a nice chunk of investment. So he will be involved to an extent. But I think what we need to do is, Levy, and I mean, it sounds weird saying foundations, considering he's been there for 20 years. He's laid some brilliant foundations. Like, the groundwork is done. As I say, the stadium, the training ground. All we need now is a bit of external investment. And I think Joe Lewis and ENIC are keen for that. And what I think now is, we need to pull into the new age. We've seen us have a nice summer, a good summer of spending. Bringing in Xavi Simons was a statement signing. But I think what we need now is just sort of to pull in that new direction, play around with the big boys and sort of see what we can do in this league, because the likes of Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, we've seen how they've
Don't forget
spent
Man
this
United,
summer.
Sonny.
I mean, I can't forget them, can I? But I mean, they're in a different league of their own.
Yeah,
but we just got to compete. We've just got to really, if Tottenham want to be part of a big six, if they want to, really pull up trees, they've got to do something. There's been lots of rumours. I mean, I know in the statement, the final sentence is Joe Lewis and ENIC are not keen to sell at the moment. But I mean, the offer's there, a club in London with the state-of-the-art facilities.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been rumours of Saudi investment. There's been rumours of Amanda Staveley was keen to come back in and bring in a consortium or just some external investment. I know Nasser El-Khalifi from PSG was sniffing around for a little while for a little bit of an investment. So I just feel like Tottenham is such there's an amazing project there. There's been, I mean, I was reading something on Twitter just before I joined. The amount of upheaval that's happened going into this season, nearly getting relegated last year, finished 17th, winning a trophy after 17 years, new manager, our club legend leaves, a new captain, and then this happens. And
It's
just
so
like,
Spursy, isn't it?
You've got to say it is Spursy. It is Spursy. I can't disagree.
So very quickly, just tell me straight, is this a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing. I feel like Daniel Levy was holding us back. He sort of had the reins on Spurs. He kept, he was very frugal. And I just feel now, it's now a non-executive chairman, whatever that means. I mean, he will be the all-powerful being at Spurs. He was the executive chairman. So I think now, looking ahead, this is positive for Spurs. There's no worries. We're not going to fall off. And as the caption says at the bottom of the screen, we are going to be entering a new era at Tottenham Hotspur, hopefully.
Well, Sonny, thank you so much for joining me and speaking about this. That was the brilliant Sonny Snelling. Make sure that you check him out on his very own YouTube channel, Sonny Talk Spurs, and of course on Inside Spurs, TalkSport's very own YouTube show about all things Tottenham. Like Sonny said, they're going to have a special episode dropping at 8 a.m. this morning. But now it's time to look at the front pages.
It's a front page throwdown.
Oh, what a move!
The front pages first on the early sports breakfast.
talkSPORT.
Hello.
Hello.
We'll whiz through this very quickly. What's the worst thing you've ever said to your boss, Angelina?
Oh, no, I'm very nice to bosses.
Oh, yeah? Always?
Yeah, I think so.
Even the talkSPORT one?
I got told off by one of my bosses because I said that I tried a dupe of Whispering Angel, which was at a supermarket. It was quite cheap, and Whispering Angel wine is 20 quid a bottle. This was cheaper and supposed to be like it, and I got told off because you need to have the Whispering Angel. I said, well, give us a bit more money and then maybe you can buy a bottle.
Brazil's a big fan of Whispering Angel.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's okay to call your boss a D-head. It is not a sackable offence. An employment tribunal has ruled. The ruling came after a woman was fired when she aimed a slur at her manager and director during a row. Kerry Herbert's won almost 30 grand in compensation.
Wow, that doesn't sound right.
Well, I think it was kind of an isolated incident. What happened was there was some argument there.
Need context.
And yes, she said she was only in the job because of you two D-heads, and this tribunal ruled that the one-off comment was not so serious to justify summary dismissal. So, if you're a bit angry with your boss out there and you don't have a track record of being abusive to them, it's all right just to slip in a little
good to know
insult. Also, one for Alan, Brazil, death of pub regular. The pub regulars at risk of dying out as folk can no longer afford to prop up the bar at their local each night. You ever worked in a pub?
No, I have not worked in a pub. My first job was Manchester Airport. I worked in the Etihad Business Class Lounge.
Wow.
And I, as a Man United fan, used to have to stand next to a wallpaper of a Blue Moon Rising with cabinets of signed memorabilia, pictures of players.
Was that hard for you?
It was painful, I'll be honest. So
Well, apparently
maybe I should have worked in a pub.
Nearly half of pub goers who visit their favourite boozer regularly, some 45% now, call in less often due to soaring prices. I used to work in one. We had a guy with his own glass. He had his own glass behind the bar.
I like that.
And he'd come in and we knew what he wanted. pint of bitter, straight in his tanker.
Bit of tradition. I like that.
Yeah, it's there. But yeah, unfortunately, it's going down. I think that's probably about all we got time for, isn't it? Breathless.
I know.
Very quickly before I go, an Indian summer may be on the way. Don't worry, we might get a little bit more warm weather after this horrible rain.
We need it. I'm sick of autumn already. We're only a few days into September and it's already miserable, isn't it?
Well, come on. It's Friday. It's the weekend. Let's get it.
Yeah. Whether or not, it's still the weekend.
I'm still going out in the rain.
Yeah. You go out in the rain, dancing in the rain?
I actually do like
the
being
rain?
out in the rain, yeah.
No, not happening.
It's bracing. I feel alive.
No, my hair starts going frizzy. So
My wife has the same problem.
So not a chance. But thank you very much for that, Nick.
Cheers,
You're
Angela.
listening to Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. Coming up next, we're giving you a chance to see Oasis and win 25 grand. Plus, we're building up to breakfast with Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbonlahor.
I would like to leave this city. This old town don't smell too pretty.
Good morning, I'm Angelina Kelly, and this is Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. We're playing my favourite Oasis track this Friday morning because it reminds me of The Royal Family, the TV show. I'll be honest, I used to watch that with my family all the time, but I can't beat a bit of Oasis. But the reason why we're playing this is because do you want the chance to win £25,000 in cash plus Oasis tickets to their very last show at Wembley on the 27th of September? Well, listen up, because we're giving you the chance to win our biggest competition yet. 2 lucky winners, yes, 2, will win a pair of tickets to see Oasis live at Wembley for the last time. But that's not all. Along with the tickets, one of you will walk away with a massive £25,000 in cash. For all the details and how to enter, listen up right now, because you could be one of those lucky winners.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Now, coming up this weekend, the Women's Super League is back and it's live on the talkSPORT network after another blockbuster summer for women's football.
Shot. Oh my goodness! What a penalty kick! You better believe it! Football is coming home again! Rissing Canarit from the angle with the shot, and it flashes into the back of the net, and Chelsea get their inevitable goal.
She might shoot from distance. I don't think she's going to beat Lucy Bronze now. Oh. She does! It's into the bottom corner!
Russo with a shot, into the back of the net! An Arsenal lead after 1 minute and 6 seconds! What a start to the North London derby!
This WSL season is going to be more competitive than ever.
Mee gets to it, and Jurang is there! Can she put it in? She does!
It's the WSL season opener tonight. Champions Chelsea host Manchester City at Stamford Bridge, and it's live on talkSPORT 2 from 7 p.m. Hearing some of that commentary of Joe Shannon and, you know, the women's Euros and everything, it really takes me back. I was out there with the team for the final week. But for Chelsea, for this game, all eyes will be on their superstar Sam Kerr. Her manager Sonia Bonpastor says she is back but needs some time to hit top form.
She's in a good place. She's been training well. She's physically in a good position. She's also mentally in a good position. So it's nice because, again, I think she's one of the players everyone wants to see her on the pitch.
So for context, she's been out for 20 months with an ACL injury, so it will be absolutely amazing to have her back. City have got some good firepower as well. They've got Bunny Shaw, who was the joint top scorer last season, Viviana Miedema, who is the all-time top scorer in the Women's Super League. So I think that's going to be a really tasty one. But it is Friday, and that means that new Clips of the Week podcast will be out. Have a listen to this Alan Brazil classic from the Hawksby and Jacob archives.
Ain't no mountain high enough. Tammy Terrell was one. Who was the other?
Excellent.
No idea. It's Marvin someone, but I can't remember his second name.
Alan will be back in just a minute. When I hear Clips of the Week and you hear those archive ones, it is like the start of the weekend for me. Hawksby and Jacobs are back at 1 p.m. today. They'll have some new clips just after 3:30 p.m. Then the podcast drops just after 4. Find it on the talkSPORT app or wherever you get your podcasts. But remember, there's loads of live sport on the network this weekend. And as you've heard this morning, with that season opener between Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, the NFL is back. And once again, the talkSPORT network is your home for live coverage this season. Tonight on talkSPORT 2, we've got Patrick Mahomes' and Travis Kelce's Kansas City Chiefs taking on the LA Rams in Sao Paulo. And like we said at the beginning of the show, I wonder if Taylor Swift will take a little trip to Brazil to visit her new fiancé. But yesterday, NFL analyst and former coach Phoebe Shachter told Alan Brazil on Breakfast why the sport is going globally mobile.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the thing is for a lot of these different countries, this may be the first time they've ever even seen an NFL game, an American football game in real life. So last year we did a game in Brazil as well. The big one is going to be next year. There's going to be a game in Australia.
Oh.
Now that's kind of the biggest challenge because obviously the time zone, the travel to get there, when you fit that in. But last year was the first time that we'd seen teams going on these away trips, whether it's even to, London or to Germany.
Berlin,
and then
yeah.
normally they'd be given a bye week afterwards to kind of recover. They've taken that away. They've not actually planned that in for a lot of teams. And for example, this year, the Dublin game that's coming up against the Steelers, it's going to be the Vikings, and then they go from Dublin and they fly over to London and play the next game. So again, a test of, all right, now we're going to have to fly you in between weeks. So they're always looking for blueprints of how to make things better.
Don't forget, talkSPORT 2 have got you covered with the NFL with 5 exclusive games between now and Tuesday morning. We have loads more guests, though, loads more coming up on Breakfast with Alan and Gabby this morning. Here's what's coming up. It's a big day for Spurs. Harry Redknapp joins the boys, as is Ramon Vega. He'll be joining the ex-Spurs defender. He's a great talker. And Ross Kemp, EastEnders legend, he's on the show. He's urging us to strengthen our pensions. You've been listening to Early Sports Breakfast with me, Angelina Kelly, and with Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbonlahor are up next.